Hi, I'm going to give you an overview of the educational profile project. So give me a second to share my screen with you. So here's the instructions for the educational profile project. So let me back up so I can show you where to find this. So in Blackboard, I'm going to unhide this for you, but you'll see the educational profile project here. And then there's a folder, educational profile project instructions and resources. You'll click that. And then here's the instructions and grading. So that's where we're going to start. Okay, so starting from the beginning, this is a group project and it's designed to help you explore various opportunities within the field of education beyond the role of classroom teacher. So all of you are thinking about being classroom teachers. So this actual assignment is required by Michigan Department of Education as an exploratory piece. So what they want is for you to explore other professions within the field of education. So other roles that support children in education but are not classroom teachers. So that could be the school administrator, a school social worker, school psychologist, could be a school counselor, particularly at the secondary level, could be speech and language pathologist. It could be a physical therapist, occupational therapist, reading interventionist, behavioral interventionist, teacher consultant. If you're pursuing general education, it could be a special education teacher. So the idea is that you choose a role outside of teaching, but within the field that you're going to examine further. Okay, so it is a small group project. There'll be 4 of you in a group, 3 to 4 of you. And each of you are going to choose a different role to pursue and to do a little bit of a deeper dive into and find out really important information related to that role. Now, the thing that's important for you to understand is that this actually meets the 10 exploratory clinical experience hours for your program. And typically we would go out in the field and do these explorations, but our program is too large to take all of you out into the field. And so this piece of your clinical experience is you doing some research out in the field on your own. So it might be websites, it could be schools, it could be school web pages, it could be interviewing someone that is currently in the role that you're interested in. But the 10 hours will be research based. Okay, so I recorded a different video with an actual example of the project so that you can see what it should look like or could look like. So for this, I'm just going to explain to you what is required for this project. So there is a particular timeline. I've already assigned your groups and I see that a lot of you are connecting with one another. That's great. Week 3, your group is gonna talk about which roles they want. So every person in your group is gonna do a different role. That way, when you get together to present your information, all of you are learning something new, okay? So week 3, you're gonna let me know what roles each of your group members has chosen. Week 4, you're actually going to submit your slide presentation. And that's, again, the other video where I give you an example. That's what you're gonna submit week 4. You'll get a little bit of feedback from that. You'll revise and edit it. And then part 2 is you're actually going to meet live online with your group and each of you is going to present. So you're going to use WebEx to share your screen and present your slides and then talk through your presentation. And then the small group meeting will be recorded for me so that I can actually hear everybody's presentation. If we did this in class, I wouldn't even be able to hear all of your presentations. So meeting online to do this and recording it is how I get to hear all of your presentations. Okay, and then so week 7, you're going to submit your final slide presentation. So your actual PowerPoint or your slide deck. There's a self-evaluation and peer evaluation you're going to submit. And then, so all of this will be part of your project. So your meeting host will submit the recording to the meeting where all of you presented your slides, but each individual person is going to submit their own slide deck and their peer review and their self-evaluation. Okay, I know it's a lot Take your time to kind of absorb this. Make a note of what's required for each week. It's also in our course outline. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take a look at the Educational Profile Project Overview, which gives you a little bit more information about what's required in your presentation. And again, the other video example shows you as well. Okay, so here's a list of all of the roles, and this is not exhaustive. So if you are interested in something that's not in this table, just let me know and get approval. But it could be a superintendent, school social worker, teacher consultant, the roles that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so you're going to begin this project with a basic summary of the type of role that you chose and then explain why you chose that particular role. So we all make choices for a reason. So you're just going to explain that reason. You're going to be expected to use a variety of sources to thoroughly describe the role. And then there's really specific information that you're going to be looking for as well. But here are some links to some websites where you can get some of the information that you're going to need for your project. Okay. I'm going to let you're all able to read this information, so I'm not going to read it to you. I'm just going to scroll down to the project requirements, because this is where it's broken down more specifically for you. So in your slide deck, you can use Canva. I highly recommend Canva. It's just fun to work with. And the free version is completely user-friendly, and it will have everything that you need to make a nice presentation. But you also, as a CMU student, have access to Microsoft PowerPoint. You also, as CMU students, have access to Adobe Express, which is it's a Canva-like version, but you actually have access to it as a CMU student. So if you haven't downloaded Adobe Express, highly recommend that you do that, particularly if you don't want to pay for Canva or try to sign up for a free version. You already have Adobe Express, and those two things are very similar. Some people actually like Adobe Express a little bit more. I haven't worked with it that much yet, so I can't weigh in on that, but students have said that they really like it. Okay, so for the first slide, the very first slide is going to be your title slide. Your second slide will be explaining the purpose of the project. And I've already outlined for you what the purpose is, so you're just going to restate that on your slide and elaborate a little bit more. And then the next slide will be to describe the role. Like, what is the purpose of the role? So if you chose school administrator, what is the role of the school administrator? So that's where you're going to do some research. Make sure that you cite your research on the slide using APA 7th edition format. Okay. Then you're going to include what credentials are required. So do they need special certifications? Do they need licensure? Do they need a master's degree, a PhD, an educational doctorate? You need to include like what credentials are required. And then I want you to look for the salary ranges, not look for national salary ranges, but also in the state of Michigan, and then any other state that you think you might want to work in. Okay, so then the next slide will be the diversity statistics, because this class is all about being inclusive and valuing the diverse backgrounds that students bring to us. It's important for us to also recognize that that people in the field in all of these different roles have diverse backgrounds as well. And we also need our children to see themselves reflected in leadership and in these different roles. So whichever you choose, you're going to do some research around the diversity statistics. So you're going to look at racial statistics. You're going to look at gender statistics. You can look at sexual orientation statistics. You can also look at statistics around rural people who work in the rural areas, people who work in urban areas, and even thinking about people that work in maybe private schools versus public schools. So really do a deep dive here into those different statistics, diversity statistics. Okay, then the next slide will be explain the duties, expectations, and responsibilities of the position. So get really detailed about what is the role of a school administrator. And you can be really specific about school administrator by saying, like, I really want to look at elementary school administrators versus high school administrators. Those roles are very different. Okay, and while some of these say 2 to 3 slides, you could probably do this share this information in one slide, possibly two. I'm not going to, your grade is not going to be dependent on the number of slides you use. This is really just a guide. If you can put the information in there in one slide and then really explain it well when you present it, that's perfectly fine. It's really what we hope that you'll do. So fewer slides, more explanation is really what we're hoping for. Then the next thing you're going to do is share personal testimonials. So from someone who's currently in that role. And again, you can use social media websites, you can use TikTok, you can use, there's YouTube videos of all kinds of people talking about, you know, how they feel about their jobs. So you're going to need to do, again, 10 hours of research to do this project. So take a look and find some testimonials, people who share what the good parts of their job are and maybe even what some of the challenges are. So more informal videos like from TikTok or from LinkedIn is a good one too, or Facebook groups. You can get into those more, even Instagram, even more like maybe they're sharing some of the challenges. So you can embed those videos as testimonials as well. One of the nice things about using Canva is if you copy the link to the website or to the web page or to the video into your slide, Canva just automatically embeds it as a video. It's so lovely. So I highly recommend. And I'm certain that Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Express does the same thing. Okay, so beyond the testimonials, then you're going to share on a slide your thoughts about what you learned and why it would be really important for the people that hold those roles to be culturally responsive and be aware of how their background might be different from the people that they're serving and the students that they're serving and the families that they're serving. Like, why would an awareness of the constituents' backgrounds, like, why would that matter? Why would that be important? So that's where you're going to use some of the information from this class, our textbook, from We Got This, some of the videos that you've watched to help you kind of formulate your response to that. And then the last slide is your references. Again, make sure you're using APA 7th edition format. If you're not sure what that is, I will put some resources into this assignment folder. There's some really short, appropriate videos out there that will tell you how to do it. If you're someone that uses ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT to tell you what an APA 7th edition format would look like for a website, web page, video, and it will help you do that. Okay, so and part of this project is the presentation piece of it. One of our core teaching practices, which we will talk about later, that Michigan Department of Education wants us to make sure that you are aware of and know how to do, is leading a group discussion. And so it'll be your job when you present to kind of lead your group in a discussion around the role that you have done research on. So you're going to present the information, but once you're done presenting, be prepared to kind of facilitate a short conversation around it. They have some questions prepared that you can ask your small group to respond to related to what you're sharing with them. So you're going to lead a very short discussion around the work that you've done. Okay, so that's the overview, the written overview. Again, take some time. You can download this. If you use this button here, you can download this and save it. You could print it so that you have it next to you when you're trying to put your project together. These hyperlinks will be really useful. Underneath this written explanation are additional resources. So you can go to the Mid-Michigan Area Public Schools Consortium. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics will help you. The next document that you're going to use is the self and peer evaluation form. So you're going to need to actually download this form and save it. You'll need one for yourself and then one for each of your group members. So you're likely going to have to upload at least 3 or 4 of these, one for yourself and one for each of your group members. So as they're presenting, let me blow this up for you so you can see it. You're going to put your name, your group name, the presenter's name and the role that was presented. And then you're just going to look, did they do a nice job explaining the project purpose? Did they talk about the job title? So this is the rubric that will be used to grade your project. This box over here is where you can put some comments. okay? You can also put notes. I expect that you'll put notes from the presentation about this role under here. The whole purpose of this project is for you to get a better understanding of what rules are out there. So not just the one you researched, but the ones your group members researched as well. So when I look at this form for each of your group members, I should see what you learned about that role from that particular presentation. Okay, so you'll do one for yourself and then you'll do one for each of your group members. And so what I would recommend is just download this and print it. And as your group is presenting, just handwrite your responses to those. And then all you need to do is just take a picture of them to upload as part of the project, like you're doing for the video notes. If you're in a face-to-face class, you can actually hand this in, hand in the physical documents. But if you're in an online class, you'll take pictures of it and submit it that way. Okay. So here are some little tutorials. Here's how to create a presentation in Google Slides. Here's how to use Canva. Here's how you could create a presentation with Microsoft PowerPoint. And then for those of you who are hosting these online live sessions, here is your link to learning how to host a WebEx meeting. Okay, so you'll want to, if you're the host of the small group, you'll want to watch this so that you know how to open the WebEx room, how to share your screen, and how to record the meeting. When you're done recording the meeting, WebEx they'll email the host the link to the recording, and then you'll just share the link in the assignment link for this project. Okay, so I know that was a lot. So listen to this recording a couple of times, pause, take notes. Just make sure that you thoroughly understand what the expectations are. Make sure you watch the video of the example because that will be really helpful too. And then here are some more resources for recording. You're not going to record your presentation. You're going to just record your small group. Additional resources for you, though, are some interviews with professionals. So if you click on this folder for that testimonial piece, there are videos with the special education supervisor, an instructional coach, international educators. Here's a middle school English or ESOL teacher, elementary school counselor, school psychologist, administrator. You can use these videos as your testimonials, for part of your testimonials. So make use of these as well, okay? And then your submission links are here. I want to show you what they look like. So if you are the host of the group, once you decide each of your group members and the roles that they're going to hold, you're going to submit that here next week. So in week 3. So there's actually a project plan. So if you look at it, just the host is going to name the group members, which roles they're doing, and then the day and time that you're meeting. And then any questions you have for me or for Sarah, you can put here, or any instructor that you have. Actually, I shouldn't just say me and Sarah, but whomever your instructor is for your class. Okay, so that's what you'll turn in for your first part of your project. The second part is the slides. So this is where you're going to actually upload your PowerPoint slides, whether you're using Canva or Adobe Express or Microsoft PowerPoints or Google Slides, you're going to put them here. Each individual member of the group does their own presentation. They're not together. They're all separate. So each of you will upload your own right here to this link. And then just the host, once you have held your online live meeting and each of you have presented and you have the full recording, the host needs to submit the recording here. So the host will open this link and this will be the text box. Sorry, I don't get to see the view that you have. This is the instructor view, but there'll be a text box here and you can just copy and paste the link to the recording there. Some people like to download the recording and upload it here. It takes a lot of memory and bandwidth for Blackboard to do that, especially if it's a lengthier meeting. So a link is perfectly fine. And then your final piece will be the final presentation, the self-evaluation and reflection. Not sure why there's two here, so I'm actually going to delete one. Let me make sure I didn't make a mistake though. Looks like 70 points. I want to make sure I didn't make a mistake. Okay, there's two here for some reason, so I'm just going to delete one. Don't need to submit it twice. Okay, so that's kind of where everything is. So take some time and review everything. I know it seems overwhelming right now. It's not an overwhelming project. There's just a lot of little pieces to it. So maybe chunk it. So write down or keep track of the expectations of the project itself. So your presentation, then maybe think about what's going to be required when you present it in your small groups with your live session. And then make sure that you have your self and peer evaluations ready to go when you meet and do your presentations. And then what you need to submit for a final. So the final would be submitting your peer and self evaluations and your actual slides. And that's an individual submission for all of you. Okay, so I know this is a lot. Take some time to absorb all of this and then post any questions that you have on our class Padlet. So remember, we created this community, this learning community space. And so there is a column for questions about the educator profile project. Post your questions here because I can answer them quickly here because I get a notification on my phone. But also, there's 30 other people in class that could potentially answer the question if I don't get to it right away. So let's use our resources the best that we can. But other than that, if you have really specific or individualized questions that you want me to answer, you can email me or we can hop on to a WebEx and have a meeting about it as well. So hopefully this helps. Again, take your time, try to absorb the information, make notes about things that you need to do, and then plan your time accordingly. Again, 10 hours of research and 10 hours of time to put this entire project together. So this is not something you want to wait until the day before it's due to put together. You want to start working on this now. And that way, as you're building your project, I can also answer questions as you go versus waiting until the end. So hopefully that's really helpful. And if not, you have questions, you know where to find me.